Hi, this is Lainey at Camp Joy Farms. I'm in my house this morning doing a couple of things. There's supposed to be some rain coming and it's supposed to get up to 73 today, but then go back down to where it's like 32 tonight. I've even heard it's supposed to be colder than that, but I don't know. I don't really feel like it's gonna get as cold as 28 like I've heard, but it might. My phone is still saying it's gonna get around to 32, so that's just kind of what I'm going by right now. I just thought I would start off in my kitchen again today to show you the progress on my tomato plants and some other little plants that I have going. I'm so proud of them. I'm just so excited that I've gotten this far with starting seeds in my house with my little setup. It just makes me so happy. And I just want to repeat again, if I can do it, anybody can do it. I really had let seed starting intimidate me. I really had thought, that if you didn't hit the perfect mixture of seed mix, potting soil, if you didn't water just right and all, that you could end up wasting weeks and weeks and weeks and end up being back at the nursery buying everything off the shelf. And that's just not true. Now, it's not over with yet. They're not in my garden yet, and I know things can happen, but I feel like I've come a long way. I feel like the plants are healthy. They seem happy, and I'm just going to go with it. I'm just going to chalk it up to the fact that I don't think you have to be an expert. I think you can do this, with just a little preparation. You have to think it through. And I did order the little heat mats that I've showed you before, the little 3 heat mats I got from Harris Seeds. I have kind of adjusted how I'm growing these, and I think next year I'm just going to skip some steps, maybe go ahead and start with bigger containers. I don't know, it all depends on your space. And I'm dealing with that now because I really need to separate and pot up my pepper plants. And I don't really know if I have the room. I'm almost gonna have to do them, every one of them at once, so that I can just get rid of the tray, so that I can put like a big metal tray full of the little water bottle containers in it where that sits. I don't have room to leave half in the tray and put something else down there. I'll show you in a second, but my 3 shelves are full. They're getting very full. My grow lights have worked wonderful. I got these for $14.97 each at Walmart in like they had them in the middle of an aisle one day, like they had unloaded a crate and just put them in the middle of the aisle. They seem to be working great. My plants seem to love it. And every time I pot something up, I worry, I hear about transplant shock all the time and things like that. But my plants have not done that. My plants have just acted like, thank you for giving me more room, and they just shoot up. So everything's going good right now. I've been doing other things too. If you look right here behind me, I've got a dehydrator over this shoulder, and on the cabinet back there, I've got a roaster. And that's another thing is, no matter what's going on in my garden, no matter what's going on with working in seedlings and all, I have to go ahead and keep preparing and prepping food and things like that. I have to keep my family's food supply at the top of my mind, even as I'm trying to figure out how to do this business with gardening and everything. The dehydrator I've got going right now, because the store that I shop at had the big 1 pound, 12 ounce, which is 28 ounces of corn. And it was really pretty corn. It was pick sweet corn, but it was really pretty full, kernels of corn. They had those for $2 a bag. And then they had mixed vegetables. They had a lot of other things, but you have to kind of have things a certain size to put in your dehydrator. And I didn't want to have to do any thawing and chopping on vegetables. So I just got the corn, I got mixed vegetables, and then I got chopped onions. And I've been dehydrating a lot of things like that, and it has come in handy so much. You can just, take a scoop of them and put into a stew or something like that. And it kind of cuts down on waste. You don't have cans everywhere all the time. You're not having to open cans. But it's also just, I feel like a good, safe way to store some things that takes up less room than a bunch of cans. And I don't have to keep bags of frozen vegetables in my freezer to worry about them getting freezer burnt, or to worry about what's going to happen if my electricity goes out or things like that. So, and with summer coming up and living in South Louisiana, we have hurricanes. I do have a generator, but I just don't ever want to sit here and say, oh, we're going to be fine, we have a generator. you never know what's going to happen. You just never know. So I might, if something really bad happened to our house, I might not even be at this house. I might be somewhere else. So I don't want our food to be really, really extremely dependent on my freezer. That's why I do can a lot of meat. I pressure can ground meat and things when I bring it home from the grocery store. Pressure can roast. I pressure can chicken, pork. I've even done ribs before. I pressure can ribs. But whatever you have to do to keep putting food back for your family, do it. When I'm growing this garden here, I'm not the least bit worried about what if I don't have enough sales. I want to have sales. I have some goals that I want to meet. But if I don't meet those goals, and if I have something left over that is going to risk going bad before the next customer comes, I know how to preserve food. I know how to preserve it. I've taught myself. I encourage you to get a pressure canner, to get online, watch videos, get your little booklet out that comes with it, and just learn your pressure canner and learn how to do it. Because if I did not have so many items pressure canned right now, I would be feeling really vulnerable in this situation. Gas is going up and things like that, and that is, if you have to have gas to get to doctor's appointments, to work and things like that, the money's got to come from somewhere. Is it going to come from your house note? No, it's going to come out of your food budget. So I am so eternally grateful that I have put back as much food as I have, because I don't have to sweat out a lot of these gas prices right now. I can know that we're going to eat. I feel very badly for the people that have to use that gas to get to work every day. My son has an hour drive to work every day. So these gas prices are going to directly affect what he's really able to bring home after taxes and gas for his job. And I feel really bad about that. So let me show you how my plants are doing, and then I'll show you a little bit of what I've done in my dehydrator and my roaster to save some money and to put up some food. Okay, look at how my tomatoes are doing. These are all different varieties, all mixed up together, because when I pot them up, I just have to put them wherever I have a space for them. I really can't keep them all organized at this point. Some are not potted up, some are, so I just kind of put them in these water bottles. You see the little water bottles here? And then I put the little marker in them. This is a Cherokee purple here. This is an Eagle Heart yellow, which is a cherry tomato. So, and I had bought these little containers, these silver containers the other day at Walmart, not for this. I had actually bought them to use to kind of display some of my vegetables when people come to buy things. And I immediately put them into service because they are the perfect height to put these water bottles in. I didn't even think about that when I bought them. But I'm putting the water bottles in them and it's working out perfect. It's holding everything together. When I go to water, there's no trouble. But this is some of the other plants over here. And see, they're doing so good. I'm so happy. They're growing. They're setting all their extra leaves and they're really thriving. So I'm so excited. I don't know, so far so good. This is a Creole tomato here that I just potted it up. I didn't have any room to stick it in those trays. I've got some other things I'm gonna have to do to shift things around. But this Creole tomato was literally just a little sprig when I put it in here and it shot up. I'm so happy. What I did on my second shelf, I've got some tomatoes potted up back here, but I started potting up my Iroquois melons. Those lights shine on everything and make it look yellow, but it's really green. I potted up my Iroquois melons in 4 or 5 of these water bottles, and they are just like, oh my goodness, thank you. And then all of a sudden they have started growing. So I'm so happy about that. These little ones over here are actually growing a lot. Like the ones in the back that look bigger, these in the back, they looked like, this or whatever a couple of days ago. They look like these tiny ones a couple of days ago. These are mostly now, I've swapped out enough to the water bottles. I've potted out enough to the water bottles to where this whole tray is basically things I've transplanted in here that were like the second seeds that came up in each cell. I put 2 seeds per cell, and most of this stuff is like the second seed that came up, and I'm trying to just spread things out and give them an opportunity to grow as well. So I've got plenty of all of these kind of in my water bottle that I've potted up, but these are a lot extra that if I can get to grow, fine. And some of these are my eggplants, the Satsuma long, and this right here is actually an eggplant, Florida high bush. So, and this right here is a Tomatillo plant. And I've potted up some of those into my water bottles, but this is just like a smaller one that's hanging around. But once I do this, they just seem to thrive. They kind of started with these little yellow looking leaves when they were in the toilet paper holders. And then the minute I transplanted them over here, they started putting off these second leaves. So I know that they still have new growth in them. I know that they're still gonna do okay. Going down here to the last row, I potted up some more Tomatillo plants. And then right there is still some more of the Iroquois melons that I haven't been able to pot up because I didn't have enough water bottles. But I did get about 9 more together. So I think I'll have enough to get rid of the rest of these toilet paper holders and put in water bottles today. I even put an orange juice container into service, cut off the top, and I'm using it. And what kind of tomato is that? Oh, RMTT. That's a Rogue Mountain Tomato cherry tomato that I put in there. And ever since I put it in that little orange juice container, it is just thriving. It was tiny, tiny when I put it in there. Okay, this is my pepper plants. And they are coming along. And I'm getting worried because I haven't separated them out yet. Some of them, well, most of them have both seeds that have come up in each cell. And I need to separate them out. But I have just not had the room. That's what I was saying a while ago. I almost need to do this whole tray. Just do it all in water bottles and put the water bottles, say in a tray like this, except bigger, and put it on the bottom shelf because I don't have room to put this pepper tray back in there and put the others under the grow lights. But I will figure it out. I've got some water bottles to work with today. And then after that, the peppers are my full focus. I have transplanted a couple of tomato plants and stuff in there because I'm trying to use every cell that I can get and put something in it, not having any cells by themselves. But the pepper plants seem happy. They grow a little slower than tomatoes. They take a little while longer, but I can also set them out later than the tomatoes. So they have a little while that they can grow, you know, get those tomatoes out of here and let us have the space for a while. That's kind of what the peppers are feeling. So once I can get the tomatoes out of the way, the peppers can have all 3 shells to spread out and really grow. So I think it's all gonna work out fine. Okay, in my dehydrator, I just put these in a little while ago. I had a little corn from what I did yesterday that didn't go all the way. It was just kind of on one particular tray. I guess there's a weak spot in my dehydrator. So I just left them on the side of this tray, and I may end up pulling them out before any of this is ready. But I'm giving them a few more hours to dehydrate. I have 6 trays of the mixed vegetables. I have 4 trays of the diced onions that I got from the store. And not counting the little corn that I had left in that tray a while ago, I ended up with 2 quarts, 2 whole quarts full of the dried corn. Now this is 4 bags of the Pick Sweet corn, $2 a bag, so it's $8. But it shrinks up, and it shrinks up small enough to where 2 bags fit in there and 2 bags fit in there. Well, plus that little extra I have. And that's a lot of corn. You know, a quart is 4 cups. So if you're making a stew, say, and you grab just 1 cup out of this for some stew, it'll actually swell up and make more than a cup. You might could even grab a half a cup or 3/4 of a cup out of here and throw it in your gravy, let it reconstitute and swell back up. And then, you know, you could have, if you used a cup at a time, you could have 4 different meals out of this jar and 4 different meals out of that jar. And to me, it's just a no-brainer. What I'm doing here with my roaster, I found turkeys on sale at my store that I shop at for 59 cents a pound the other day. They weren't out in the middle, you know, on a big sale rack. They weren't visible much at all. They were in the same old spot they were in at Thanksgiving, but they were 59 cents a pound. So I went ahead and bought one, and I brought it home, put it in my roaster. According to the booklet, it would cook a 14 to 18 pound turkey in just 3 hours at 325. So I did that, and it came out delicious. The meat was just falling off the bone. I used the giblets in the cavity to make a giblet gravy for the freezer, and I used the drippings in the bottom of the pan to make another large batch of gravy for my freezer. All of this we can eat later. It made enough meat that I was able to get 4-quart Ziplocs and fill them with meat. I can use these later on for quesadillas, for just pastas, any kind of thing like that to pull it out. So at 59 cents a pound, it was a great deal. This is Lainey from Camp Joy Farms. I hope you've enjoyed my updates and my tips on putting back food. Please get busy doing food and preserve for your family as much as you can. Thank you.